just a few seconds.
Sure.
Okay, you should be live.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular Board of Education meeting Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 at 6:33. Could we please say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the
Pledge
flag
allegiance
of
to
the
the
United
flag
States of
of the United
America
States of America
and to the republic
to the
for which
republic
it
for which
stands,
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
one nation,
under God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
Wonderful, thank you. So roll call, I'll do a little differently, just from the board members that I see are on, which is Deb Sherman, Shelley Lacey Castellat, Nicole Levine McGrath, Stephanie Miller, Joe Matasovich, Steve Kozak. So right now we do not have Vic Tomprowski, Mike Kuza, or Vinnie Cordadella. Okay. Just for clarification, the reason the meeting is Zoom, as you know, we changed our first and third Tuesday meeting, our second and fourth Tuesday meeting times to first and third for the month of April because of April vacation. So that threw people off of their work and traveling schedule. So between that and some other issues that board members may not have been able to attend, instead of having to cancel for lack of quorum, I decided to go with the Zoom meeting so that we can continue doing the work that we need to do. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
No.
Okay. Approval of minutes.
Motion to approve the March 28th, 2023 regular Board of Education minutes.
Second.
Nicole, second. Are there any corrections or anything that needs to be changed? Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
One abstain, Stephanie. I was missing traveling.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Motion carries. Next is audience of citizens, and it's been a little while since we've been on Zoom, but if you would like to address the board, you can simply raise your hand, or you can put the hand up in the Zoom, the Zoom option, and you can address the board.
Lee Webb is put her hand up.
Okay.
And,
Sorry.
Hi, Lee Webb. My address is 2A Spelack Lane. And first of all, I just want to say thank you to the board. I'm sure that, you don't see eye to eye with everybody all the time, but, I do recognize that it is a lot of, unpaid hours that you guys do volunteer. My concerns have kind of been like over the years, mainly having to do with costs and, spending money. I feel like Oxford is always on the lower end of per student spending, and I feel like that has always been something that has been kind of celebrated as a good thing. However, I feel like when I look around our district, I don't really think, wow, we do a lot with so little. Instead, I think, oh, we're a little bare bones. So recently, I feel like there's been further just, small little cuts that I've heard of, things like stipends at the high school, or like the amount of pay that teachers were getting to cover classes during their free period. And, adding that to, I feel like people have joked about like the supplies are rationed, and, now we have that new cell phone policy, which I feel like kind of treats teachers like kids. I feel like we're not doing anything to make Oxford like an employer of choice. I get it. There's a shortage of teachers everywhere, but our teachers seem to be leaving for other districts, not necessarily leaving the profession. And then another cut, such as middle school sports buses. I feel like that should leave some extra money, but it's not clear where that extra money is going back into the district. Not sure if we can reallocate that money for like maybe some additional equipment for the kids, or, not having to make the parents pay $25 for a hat, or maybe bringing back like the end of the year sports banquet, things like that. And then also I was looking through the minutes, the Finance, Insurance, and Personnel Committee meeting minutes from March 21st, which reference a discussion about a 2-tier or 3-tier busing schedule, which to me suggests that we're still considering combining middle schools and high school. So I just want to make sure that all things are considered, including like sports schedules. I feel like my high schooler leaves early to get to her competition so often already. I just want to make sure that, nothing will make them have to leave even earlier more often. And then I guess, even with those busing, I guess I'm just most interested in hearing how we will be spending the money that are saved. I feel like, Monroe next door has a great middle school STEM program. Woodbury has a whole list of great middle school electives. Meanwhile, Oxford, I feel like, is trying to figure out how to, cut ECA from our kids. So, I feel like I personally would be more agreeable to change if I knew like, hey, I might have to give up this, but this is what I'm getting in return. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Would anybody else like to address the board? And I'm sure that you've gone on, Ms. Webb, I'm sure you've gone on and the budget is on the website and it's kind of delineated. But I see what you're asking. So I'm sure I'm on the Finance Committee with Deb and Mike. And if you want to shoot me an email, then I'll have your email and we can answer some of your questions. Anybody else, Mike? Rob?
I am not seeing anyone else with their hand up right now. No.
All right, somebody's connecting with audio. Could that be Vic? And it's a question mark, so I don't know. Okay, so I will move on then. Board correspondence and communication. Mike is not here. None that I know of. Deb, how about you? You have to unmute. You're still muted. There you go.
Am I done? Okay. We did get a email from a parent thanking the board for their efforts and understanding. So I can share that with the rest of the board.
Okay.
I think it only came to the 3 of us, so
Right.
I can share that.
Sure. Okay,
Okay.
actually, okay, thanks, Deb. Van, bus driver, and job coach positions.
Yeah, so at our meeting, I think 2 meetings ago, I proposed the creation of 2 new positions, one being a straight extra 3 positions, a van driver, a life skills job coach slash driver, and a 3rd Braille transcriptionist. So I reached out and had a meeting with the Para Association. They've agreed to bring into the association the Braille transcriptionist. So I'm working with them on that position right now, and I'll have the proposal to the board shortly of what that would look like. The association has rejected the van driver and the life coach position. So that returns back to us to set the parameters for not only the job description, which is always ours, but the salary for the position and the specifics behind that. So I'm returning to you this evening to discuss the salary, the hourly wage that we'd apply to both of those positions. Just as a reminder, one of those positions, the life coach job description, that is basically a full-time person that, if you think about it this way, is a part paraprofessional, part driver driving the van, and part with the students in the CEP program at the various job sites. So it merges 3 different roles simultaneously into one. And then the second position is a part-time. We need a specific run done before school or after school, either the van or the bus. It could be because the All-Star doesn't want it to go down a certain route because we can't get a bus down a specific street and can't turn around. And we now need to provide transportation for a child, which we have right now. We have that issue. We also run into the issue after school. We heard the comment a few minutes ago about middle school athletics. We often don't have middle school transportation for sporting events, not because we can't afford to pay it, not because it was a budget cut, because All-Star doesn't have the bus drivers or the buses to actually transport the students at that hour. But we have purchased a bus, and if we can hire a part-time driver that can drive around that time, then we can actually drive the students on a middle school team and transport them on the bus that we have. Same thing with athletic at the high school. So it gives us more flexibility. So they're basically the two positions. One is the life skill position on the salary for that. And the second position is the part-time position, just driving either the van or the bus. What I'm proposing is that the past couple of years, when we did pay out of the contract, out of the work hours, we're using base pay of $25 per hour to drive the van. So I'm proposing for the life skill position that it's a flat hourly wage of $22 per hour. And then the times the person is driving the van or the bus, it's an additional $2 per hour. So it becomes $25 per hour. And the part-time position driving the van or the bus would be paid at $25 an hour, straight up for that position. And what happened is for the life skill position, when the person is driving, on their timesheet, they're marking down the times that they're driving. They're getting paid accordingly for that.
So in the description that you sent out, is that what the final job description is?
That's the proposal from Megan from her perspective as to what she views the position. It still can go through some tweaks, but that's essentially the position.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start and then other people can jump in if they have other things to say. I would like to see the job coach position be a little more specific that would distinguish it from what paras do in the responsibility. So you have the description or the qualifications, and then in the responsibility, it kind of it does say that you need to be able to secure job related whatever's for the students. But I think in the description there should be something that they have the ability to work with with students with disabilities in community and vocational setting, that they need to have knowledge of different career paths and committed to help students achieve employment related objectives. Because I think it might be clear in your mind or Megan's mind and Linda's mind, right, what this person is going to be doing, but I don't think that was delineated in the paper that you gave us.
We certainly can add it. It seems like you were reading something. Can you send me that text and we'll incorporate it then in there?
I just did a search.
Okay.
Copy and paste it, and I kind of did a search and I took it. You're right. I took it from. I'll be glad to send it to you. But actually, I have several of them in here. I just kind of plucked out a few of them. So, another one is liaison with employers to identify possible job careers for clients with disabilities. So I'm kind of saying the same thing, but I think there's a way to say it that it was. That we need somebody who has a little more skills in that area.
Yeah, well, I'd be happy. It makes sense. We can certainly incorporate that in there, and I'll work with Megan to do so.
Anybody else want to add? Go ahead, Shelley.
No, I was just going to say, Stephanie, you took every word out of mine except that the ability to analyze whatever the job or task is. And it's not always an easy task to do that. I think I sent Rob just a picture of you have that one with the car wash safety, Rob? We don't.
Yes.
So I don't think we actually even have to share it, but just to add to Stephanie's briefly, you have to be able to understand what makes the job difficult. Is it the student individual supposed to hang things back on a rack? What are the subtasks, each of which the student would have to be successful with in order to, correctly and adequately do the job, sorry. And so I think it's important that somebody have everything Stephanie said, but also some knowledge of how to analyze, to break the tasks down, and then the ability especially to look at something like, and that was an actual client I had years ago. They had to analyze. He was offered a position for his paid internship in a car wash. And so they had to analyze, was it a safe environment? And if it wasn't, what could they do to make it safe? And he also had social skills problems that were challenges for him. And so it should be somebody who knows something about that as well, or can get input from it. I mean, they don't have to have 100% of the job traits that we're looking for, but, you know, we certainly should look for as many of them as possible. And if need be, have them trained to do the rest of it, because we want to do it right.
Yeah, those suggestions make sense and that we can incorporate them into the job description.
And thanks, Shelley. And then another question, what is the, what are paras? What's the top, you know, for
So
paras?
the top salary scale for this current fiscal year for paras is 2488, which is step 5, and step 1 is 1825. And
Okay.
there are 5 there, as I said, there are 5 steps in there. And next year, step 1 is 1871 and step 5 is 2550.
Okay, so
And
again,
then if you get the special needs differential, it's 12.5% above that.
right, I mean, yeah, for those kids, I don't see that you would need the differential, but
No.
and what was, oh, so this would be a yearly contract, so it would be negotiated on a yearly basis with the.
Yeah, I would come to the board every end of May, beginning of June, like we do with the other non-contracted positions, with what I'm projecting the salary range would be for the following year, and you'd approve it each year.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions on this position?
Just
Nicole?
wonder if
Just a minute, Michelle. Nicole?
I just wanted to say, Rob, that, you know, I think we're looking to try to elevate the community explorations program, and it's very important that we get the right person into this job. So we start with the job description to make sure we're vetting the right candidates for this position. So I don't know if we could work some life coach stuff into this as well as just career coach. And originally, when we talked about this back in February, there was some discussion about should there be a certification required? And I don't see that in this current job description.
I
I will
looked,
talk to Megan about that to see what we could add for that. And it might be we need to hire somebody and then actually get them parts to train for that, like we do in some other positions. But certainly we can look at adding that. That's a good idea.
yeah, and honestly, I mean, in most of the job descriptions that I saw, especially in schools, you know, it ran the gamut from, you know, I think if people were running the program, then you had to have special ed degree and, you know, experience in vocational, you know, dealing with students with disabilities in vocation and career paths. And a lot of them had that you have to get this, well, I forget what kind of license it is, Series 2 or something, like, you know, to drive the van. So that's very normal to have to do that in that kind of position. I didn't see anything. So maybe Megan and Linda would know. I didn't see any, you have to pass the para, you know, if you don't have the associates, you have to pass the para exam, but I didn't see a certification. Do you know of one, Shelley, like a certification for job coach?
You know, I looked too, because when I was last working, I know there was at least a certificate program. They had to go through certain training, but I'm going to reach out and do some further digging and see whether that still is something that happens. And I'll get back to you guys.
Okay,
And Megan, I can also check around with her colleagues as well.
sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Nicole?
When I was looking this morning, they had said that from what I could find online, most people who have this career coach, life coach designation, they have at least a bachelor's degree in counseling, business, or a related field. And then National Career Development Association certification, which is 4+ years of study.
Wow.
So there is something, but we'll have to look into what exactly that entails.
And for this particular role, I think you might see somebody with those type of qualifications. That's the teacher in the program, and this person is not the person that's teaching the students.
Right.
Are we pulling BRS? Oh, sorry, Joe, go.
Oh, no, Shelley, I was just wondering, is this license, does it have to be a commercial driver's license to drive the bus, or is it?
To drive the van, no. To drive the bus, it's a higher rate. It's a higher license you need. But to drive the van, Linda just got her license today, and so she's can serve as a backup, and that's going to help moving forward as well. We want to get a whole range of staff that are ready to drive the van if and when we need to.
Yeah, the only reason I'm asking is because if it requires a CDL, I think that the pay rate might be a little low because that person to maintain the CDL has to maintain a physical. You know, there's other annual stuff that person has to incur some expense, and I think it's going to be a tough, position to find a person that wants to do that and do, that's my only concern. So
This pay rate is slightly above what All-Star is paying their bus drivers.
Oh,
So we're viewing this as competitive for this area. If we have difficulty getting it staffed, I'll come back to the board and say we need to take a look at the pay on
Okay.
it.
very good. Thank you.
So do you want us to make a motion to accept this new position with the understanding that there will be changes, or do you want to make the changes and bring it back to the next meeting?
Well, you've already approved the position. I'm looking for approval
Okay.
of the pay scale for it.
Just the pay scale.
And we can go back and modify the job description. I can send the job description to the board. We can get feedback electronically at that
Okay.
point.
All right, that sounds good. Does anybody have any more questions on the salary or the pay rate? Deb?
I think Newtown has a pretty successful program, so they may already have something that we could look at for the job description. So maybe
Okay.
just
That
Newtown.
is a
Take a look
good
at that.
idea.
Okay. I can reach out to the superintendent there.
Thank you.
Great. So Deb, do you want to do a motion?
Sure.
Can I
So
ask one
motion-
more thing?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead, Shelley.
can't, I don't know why, but tonight I can't find the hand raise button. I
That's
apologize.
okay.
Just two quick questions. Are we pulling VRS in to help the students with some of these, job training and other, technology and so forth? And the second part is, how can we determine the salary level if we are not done tweaking the job requirements?
I don't have an answer to your first question. The second question, we feel from looking at Megan's done some looking around for this, and we feel based upon what we've paid for this type of position and how it aligns with the payment in the para contract, that we feel that this is a good rate of pay for this. And as if we run into difficulty, they can come back to the board and ask for a modification.
Now, or is it possible, if there is some kind of specialized certification, if we had a person who is running the program now to get that, because I think there's two different things. I think, Shelley, what your point is, I think if somebody was running the whole program and then, you're starting from scratch, then you would have a, special ed certified job coach, career coach certification. That would be, the top dog doing that. So, without having that, I think you need to go with, just finding someone who does have, some experience in working with, students with disability and the vocational training and, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. And I think it could come back. I mean, once this goes out, if we have no one and, then we need to tweak it. Does that make sense, Shelley?
To me, there's a sense of urgency for both this position and the straight up van driver, because right now we have two vehicles that are not being used. We're having struggles and challenges getting students moved with the CEP program and just in general.
Right.
So I'm trying to get this moving along. If we're struggling, I'll come back to you with requested changes.
Okay. So do you need two motions, one for the van driver and then one for the life coach? I think you probably need two.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
motion to approve the hourly rate of $23 per hour for the job coach duties and $25 per hour while driving the van.
Second.
Steve, second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Or abstain? Did I hear something about abstaining? No? Okay, motion carries. All right, and then for the van driver,
Motion to approve the hourly rate for the driver for the van or the bus at $25 per hour.
Second.
second from Joe. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Or abstain? Motion carries. So thanks, Rob. You can just, once you get that, I'll send that stuff to you and Shelley can as well. And then when you tweak it, you can just send it out to us.
That sounds good. I'll have a conversation with Megan. We'll get that going. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we have next the draft calendar for 23-24.
Yep. So this calendar has been in the works a little bit of time. The state a while ago used to have a regional calendar that required every school district in a particular region to develop the same calendar. That got shifted a while ago. However, the particular rests have continued to build collaborative calendars together. So I took that collaborative calendar that was done by ACES and then modified it for our own particular needs. I shared it with our district leadership senate council. They went back to their school faculties, vetted it through teachers and staff in the school, came back to me with some revisions, which we incorporated into it. What you're seeing here is something that has been reviewed by most of the district staff. In fact, there's even a link in one of my district newsletters with the calendar for them to provide feedback to. There was a suggestion by a board member, I think at one of our last meetings, to see if we would want to do a February break. You'll notice that's not on the calendar. It's continuing the smaller February break. When I approached to the staff with that, I didn't get a huge positive reaction to that, mainly because I was extending the days into June. But it was something that we did talk about. If it is something that you'd like me to continue to pursue, I can continue to work on it. But I did not get a lot of positive traction on adding that February break at this time.
Is this the same amount of PD days as we've had in the past?
Yep, contractually, it follows the teacher's contract, which has the required number of professional development days that are necessary, which is basically the 2 days leading to the start of school year. You've got the day on election day, and you've got the full day later in March.
I thought I saw a couple of half days.
And then we have, in most of the months, we've got early release days. Those are not per the teacher's contract. There's that follows what we've been doing this district for at least the last 3 years, which is having pretty much once a month. And when we don't have a full release day, having early release for professional learning.
So what you're saying is those early release days are early release days for students, but the staff will have some kind of PD in the, so it's not an early release day for them. It's a full day for them.
Yeah, the only 2 days that are early release days for everybody that are not professional development is the day before Thanksgiving and the day before the winter vacation. Other than that, all the other early release days that you see on the calendar are days that are intended for professional learning for staff.
Right. And
Typically certified and non-certified staff stay so teachers and paras stay for that.
Okay. And I checked it. It works with our first and third. April vacation cooperates next year, so we can keep
Great.
it to first and third. For second and fourth, I'm getting confused. Yeah, second and fourth. Okay, are there any questions on the calendar or anything, any input from anyone?
No.
Okay. So just quickly, Robert, did you have a committee? So I know that you know, the risks and everything else, but then did you have a calendar committee, or you just kind of put it through to administrators to see what their staff was?
I used so this year we implemented a district leadership senate council, and that leadership senate council is made up of a teacher rep from each school that collaborates with their principal to run their faculty meetings in the school. It also has a representative from the Para Association, representative from the secretaries, one administrator from each school, has IT, it has special education administrators, and all of my district administrators. So it's a big collaborative group of almost 20 people. So I shared the calendar with them, and I said, I'd like you to give me feedback now, but I also want you to go back to your schools and get feedback from your faculty. So they actually went back to their faculty meeting and said, here's the draft calendar, give us feedback. And then they came back the next month and they provided feedback based upon those conversations. So really it was crowdsourced across the entire district.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad everybody had a chance to weigh in on it. Anybody else? My motion person, Deb?
Motion to approve the 2023-2024 school calendar.
Second.
I think that was Steve, second by Steve. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Vic is
Opposed?
here. It's 7:03. Claire,
Well, he wasn't, so we'll add him after this because I don't think he was here for the discussion.
no, I just wanted Claire to know so you could add it to the minutes.
Thank you. Opposed or abstain? Calendar carries. Okay.
Can we make Vic co-host or something so he can talk if he needs to?
Yeah,
Oh.
let me do that right now. Okay, should be all set now.
Okay, I don't know, if you want to talk, Vic, you can just unmute with the little microphone in the bottom left. Report of the superintendent?
Sure, I'm going to be rather quick tonight. Last night I had the privilege of attending the Middle School Honor Society induction. It was a wonderful ceremony. They did a wonderful job of allowing each student to participate in the event. The parents were there, and we honored each student. They got a cord, they got a certificate. I believe there was 10 students in all, so it was wonderful to see these students honored at that ceremony. Last week was another great showing in the arts. The Great Oak Elementary School musical was Thursday and Friday. On Thursday morning, the second graders from Quaker Farms came over and the students did performance for the second grade and third grade students in the morning. And then there's the public performance in the evening. And I stood in the back. It wasn't a single chair that was empty in the room. And then the next morning, they did a performance for the fourth and fifth graders in the school. And then that was followed by a public performance in the evening. And once again, like the previous night, it was completely packed. I was standing in the back of the room with people. There was just not enough chairs. It was wonderful to see our students performing. We had our faculty that were also engaged in performing as well. And the whole performance was written by our music teacher at GOES, Aaron Smith. And I know that the other music teachers in the district also helped collaborate. Completely packed. I was standing in the back of the room with people. There was just not enough chairs. Echoing. It was wonderful to see our students performing. We had our faculty that were also
Probably mute
engaged
Vic
in
if you
performing. Okay, I think that's what it was. And we also had high school students participate. So we actually had high school students that came and they had helped with some of the choreography. They helped with the sound. They helped with the lighting and the performance. So it was an all around wonderful opportunity to see our students and staff across the district collaborate for a performance at elementary school level. And this is the first time I've been here to see the elementary school do a musical. So it's just to see that tradition return back to the school. At the high school, some wonderful news. We had a student that has been recognized as one of the top 10 students in New Haven County in the chemistry Olympiad exam. And that's a wonderful accomplishment for that student. And he's going to be competing in the national exam later this month. We also have a high school student, senior, that got into Yale.
Wow.
And that is something that we should celebrate as well. wonderful accomplishment to that student. Kudos to him for reaching that milestone.
Absolutely.
And then finally, not this coming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday is the next board meeting, and we have students that will be recognized athletically from high school from this past winter season. And we also have the iReady presentation. So I've got the reps from iReady one rep is in Connecticut, will be at the meeting with us. So if there are specific questions that you have that you would like that person to address, if you send that to me in advance, I can give it to that person so that they could tailor make the presentation and answer your questions when they're here that night.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Anything else, Robert?
That's it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on what Robert just said?
I just wanted to say that the kids did an amazing job at Great Oak. I sat next to Mr. Temple and we tried to figure out the songs as they were starting. So I just think they did an amazing job. And I thank the staff for being so actively involved in that process. And it was amazing. And it was great to see the kids back on stage, and even better watching some of our high school kids standing in the back, dancing and showing the kids how certain things to do. So it was really wonderful. And I'm very thankful that it was able to be shown to so many people. So thank you.
That's great.
Yeah. So the next performance, the middle school students are right now practicing their plays towards the end of April. And I'll get that date out to you.
Okay. And it is one of our former students who is I don't know, is it directing or producing or both? Directing, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
Directing the play. So that's fantastic as well. Okay, so for my report, just something, very simply, next week is school vacation. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week off and recharges for those of you who have the week off. And wonderful signs of spring today when it was so warm. I know that Joe is very happy about that. I'm sad to see the snow go. And I had a parent who sent me an email, and I can't remember what the beginning of it was, but she eventually recommended that I know what it was, that the board corner, she appreciated the blurb in the board corner in the newsletter, and said it made her understand the process much more clearly. And she suggested that we post our board meetings there. So if you noticed in this week, there's the board corner, and last Friday was the board corner, and we put the link to our last meeting. Because we have a meeting twice in a row, it will be again for this one. On the off meetings, on the off weeks when we might not have meetings, there may or may not be something that we can put in there, but just so that people know that is a place where we will post a link to our meeting, so people can, if they weren't able to attend, they could view the meetings there. So I thank that person for the suggestion, and I followed through, and so I appreciate it. Okay, subcommittee reports. Mike isn't here. Oh no, facilities. That's you, Joe. Sorry.
I have nothing to add for this meeting. It's just Dr. Miller. It's nice to see the work being done up at the high school, and keep it going. It's nice to see progress all the time going on up there. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Deb, I think we meet. Curriculum meets on Monday. You got to unmute, Deb.
There's too many background noises at my house, so I keep.
Tell me about it.
The dog does not like being on line. We will probably be an online meeting, so just everybody check their agendas, but we will meet on Monday.
Okay, thank you. Nicole, policy?
We haven't met since the last meeting, so there's nothing to update right now.
This is the other problem with having weeks, meetings back to back, and we don't get a whole lot done in between. And finance, that's Mike and Deb and I know we haven't met. We're just waiting for the town to go through their budget process, and then we'll have to get into high gear and and see what number they come back. for us.
And we do have a finance committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday.
Yeah,
And I believe according to the Board of Finance schedule that they did in January, that the meeting is supposed to be on the 17th.
okay.
So that, I believe that's the meeting where they come and ask everybody, what they think. And so that should be hopefully well attended by the public as well as the board members. So
Yeah.
I'll get more information and make sure that that's still happening. But when they did their schedule in January, that was the date they had chosen, was the 17th.
Of April.
Correct.
And I
Alright.
have not heard anything official from Jack Pilot or anyone.
Yeah, it
else in
was
the
just
town
on their
about that.
schedule, so I'm not sure if they're holding to that schedule, but it had the town meetings, it had the public hearing and all of those things on their schedule, so.
Right. Up
But
to this point, they have posted their normal finance workshops
Right.
this week and next week, but they haven't gone beyond that.
Yeah, and so between Robert and I mean, I can contact Jack too and just say, give us a heads up when it's going to be, because if you remember last year, we kept on thinking that it was going to be this date and we all showed up and then it wasn't that date and then we showed up again and it wasn't that date and we showed up again. I mean, they get pushed behind, which is understandable, but as soon as we know, we can include that in that, that could be something else that could be included in that board corner of the newsletter. Okay, anything else for finance, Deb? I don't think so.
No,
Okay. Are there any liaison reports?
No.
I'll just go first as far as Oasis. I have not heard back from Vinnie Provenzano. I did reach out to him. I will do so again. I don't really know any other way than email to get in touch with him, but maybe I can check with Anthony at the high school, might have a phone number for him. So I'll just keep at that to try to get a middle school program that Oasis can sponsor.
And I know that they were tied up today. Oasis it collaborated with the high school today, actually high school and middle school this evening, actually right now, starting 15 minutes ago, was their collaborative presentation to 8th and 9th grade parents, sponsored by Oasis. It's a 90-minute in-person program on wellness and to encourage conversations between students and families.
Awesome.
So that's taking place right now.
Good. And that went to middle school, 8th grade parents as well?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. That's
And
good
the meeting and the presentation actually is being recorded. So after it's recorded, we've got it available to share that link out to families.
Okay, wonderful. Any other liaison reports?
I can just tell you that PTO had a 8th grade dance on Friday night, which was well attended. So that's all I have from PTO.
Okay. Hearing nothing else, then we can go into our next is executive session. So we will have to have we can put people in a waiting room while we are in executive session, and then you can be let back in when we get out. So Deb, do you want to do the motion?
Sure.
Oh, and
Motion.
can I ask a question before you do that? Is Mike on? I didn't see Mike.
No, he's unable to join us this evening. I can explain why when he comes
Okay.
in a few minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so just invite Dr. Miller.
Okay, motion to enter into executive session to discuss matters concerning security strategy and invite in Dr. Miller.
Second.
Okay, I'm gonna. Oh,
Wait,
gosh.
I need a second.
Yeah.
Joe, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstain? Motion carries. Okay, thank you, everyone.